My father married my ex-wife last weekend. They'd been secretly dating for 3 years, starting 6 months before my divorce was even finalized. Let me take you back to how this all started. 2 years ago, I thought I had the perfect life. Sarah and I had been married for 8 years, living in this beautiful house in suburban Denver. She was a kindergarten teacher, I worked in tech, and we were trying for our second baby. Our daughter Emma was 5, and Sarah was always talking about how she wanted to give her a little brother or sister. My dad, Robert, had been widowed for 4 years after my mom passed from cancer. He'd been lonely, sure, but he seemed to be doing okay. He'd come over for Sunday dinners, help me with house projects, and Sarah would always make his favorite pot roast. They got along great, maybe too great, but I just thought it was nice that my wife and father had such a good relationship. The first sign something was off came during Emma's birthday party. I was in the kitchen cutting cake when I heard Sarah laugh, this specific laugh she only did when she was flirting. I looked through the window and saw her touching my dad's arm, leaning in close as he showed her something on his phone. When I walked outside, they jumped apart like teenagers caught kissing. "What are you two looking at?" I asked. "Oh, just some funny video your dad found," Sarah said, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. Then there were the phone calls. Sarah started getting calls at weird hours, 6 a.m., 10 p.m., and she'd always step outside to take them. When I asked who it was, she'd say it was her sister dealing with some family drama. But when I mentioned it to her sister at Emma's school play, she had no idea what I was talking about. The breaking point came 6 months later. Our marriage was falling apart for reasons I couldn't understand. Sarah became distant, cold. She stopped wanting to be intimate. She picked fights over nothing. When I suggested couples therapy, she said she was done trying. "I want a divorce," she said one Tuesday morning over coffee, like she was asking me to pass the sugar. I was devastated. I begged her to reconsider, to tell me what I'd done wrong. She just kept saying we'd grown apart, that she needed to find herself. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. Sarah got the house, I got Emma every other weekend, and I moved into a cramped apartment across town. But here's where it gets twisted. 3 months after our divorce, I decided to surprise my dad with dinner. He'd seemed happier lately, had more energy, and I thought maybe he was finally healing from losing Mom. I used my key to let myself in and called out, "Dad, it's me." No answer. But I heard voices coming from the living room. As I walked toward the sound, I heard a woman's laugh. That same flirty laugh I'd heard at Emma's party. I turned the corner and there was Sarah. On my father's couch. Wearing one of his old shirts and nothing else. They were feeding each other ice cream and watching some romantic movie. Sarah's head was on his shoulder, his arm around her waist. They looked like newlyweds. The ice cream container fell from Sarah's hands. "Oh God. Jake, I can explain." "How long?" I whispered. My father, my own father, couldn't look at me. "Son, this isn't how we wanted you to find out." "How long?" Sarah's voice was barely audible. 3 years. 3 years. I did the math in my head and felt sick. They'd been together for 6 months before she even asked for the divorce. Every Sunday dinner, every family gathering, every time I'd confided in my dad about our marriage problems, he was sleeping with my wife. "You destroyed my family," I said to my father. "You destroyed my marriage." "Your marriage was already over," he said. Sarah was miserable. She told me you two barely talked anymore, that you'd become strangers. Because she was cheating on me. With my own father. Sarah finally spoke up. "Jake, I never meant for it to happen. Your dad was just so supportive after your mom died. He listened to me when you were always working. He made me feel seen." I looked at this woman I'd loved for 8 years, who I'd planned to grow old with, who was the mother of my child. "Did you ever love me? Or was I just the convenient stepping stone to my father?" She started crying. But they weren't tears of guilt, they were tears of frustration that they'd been caught. That's when my father said the words that shattered what was left of my heart: "We're getting married next month." We wanted Emma to be our flower girl. They wanted to use my daughter as a prop in their twisted fairy tale. I walked out without another word. But I wasn't done. Not even close. See, there was something they didn't know. My mom had left my dad a substantial life insurance policy, nearly $500,000. She'd also left detailed instructions in her will about what would happen to that money if my father remarried within 5 years of her death. The money would go directly to me. Mom had been smart. She'd suspected Dad might try to replace her quickly and wanted to protect the legacy she'd built for her family. The lawyers had explained this to Dad right after Mom's funeral, but he'd clearly forgotten in his rush to play house with my ex-wife. I called the estate lawyer that night. But wait, there's more they didn't know. Remember how I said I worked in tech? Well, I'm a cybersecurity specialist. And during those last few months of my marriage, when Sarah was being so secretive with her phone, I'd installed monitoring software on our home router. I told myself it was just to check if Emma was safe online, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. I had 3 years of evidence. Text messages, photos, even recorded phone calls of Sarah and my father planning their secret dates, talking about how stupid I was, laughing about their old fool cover story. In one message from 2 years ago, Sarah wrote, "I can't wait until we can be together for real. Jake is so clueless. He actually thanked you for cheering me up when I was sad about our marriage problems. If only he knew you were the reason I was sad, because I couldn't be with you openly." My father's response: "Soon, sweetheart. We just need to be patient. Let him think the divorce is his fault." They had played me perfectly. But now it was my turn. I sent everything to Sarah's school district. Turns out, there's a morality clause in her contract. She was fired within a week. I sent the evidence to everyone in our social circle: friends, family, neighbors. Let them see who they really were. But the best part? The wedding. They'd planned this big ceremony at the country club where Sarah and I had gotten married. Same venue, similar flowers, even some of the same guests. The narcissism was breathtaking. I waited until the minister asked if anyone objected to the marriage. I stood up in the back of the room, I'd bought a ticket under a fake name, and said, "I object. And I think the bride and groom should explain to everyone how their 3-year affair destroyed a marriage and broke up a family." The room went silent. Then I played a recording on my phone, Sarah and my father discussing how they'd manipulate me into asking for the divorce so they'd look like the innocent parties. Sarah ran out crying. Half the guests followed her, demanding answers. My father just stood there, finally understanding that his actions had consequences. The marriage was never officially completed. But even if it had been, the prenup I'd helped him draft, supposedly to protect him from gold diggers, would have protected my mother's money anyway. Today, Sarah works at a gas station across town. My father lives alone in the house where he and my mother built their life together. And me? I have full custody of Emma now. Turns out family court doesn't look kindly on a mother who abandons her child to chase her ex-husband's father. Emma asks sometimes why Grandpa doesn't come around anymore. I tell her that sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt people they love, and those choices have consequences. I'm dating someone new now, a wonderful woman named Lisa who thinks family loyalty actually means something. Emma adores her, and Lisa would never dream of betraying the people who trust her. Some people say I went too far, that I should have forgiven them and moved on. But they stole years of my life. They made me question my sanity, blame myself for the failure of my marriage, and worst of all, they were willing to use my daughter as a pawn in their sick game.